The full episode is now available on Patreon and YouTube memberships. Please see the link in the description for more details.
So, HBO, we got some exclusives coming out that HBO is looking at doing a Aegon the First spinoff, which to me feels weird because we're kind of like 100 and some odd years in with the whole Rhaenyra thing, but they want to do another spinoff going back to the first dragon. So, Trey, like, is that something you would be excited for, or?
I tweeted about it, and I was such a Debbie Downer about it. I am not like an Aegon the First fan. I think he's kind of boring. He's one of the more boring Targaryen kings. I don't know. I feel like he's written, like, especially the Conquest. It's written that it is like a washout. Like there was no chance that they were gonna win except Dorne, maybe. That like he just is winning battles, and it's like a guy with an attack helicopter fighting people in the Middle Ages. So it would be hard for me to. First of all, you have to make him an interesting character, which George I think intentionally wrote him as like an enigma. Like he doesn't really have a character in the text. Like he's just kind of, you don't know too much about him. Like we know that he's friends with the Baratheon guy, right? He's like the progenitor of the Baratheon line. And he has like his sister wives. So I don't know, like I don't know what his personality's like, you know, like what is Aegon? It would all be on like the writers.
I think this has to do with George slapping together Fire and Blood so quickly and needing to have it published. He had written Sons of the Dragon. He had written Princess and the Queen. He had written The Rogue Prince, and he had written a segment on Aegon's conquest for The World of Ice and Fire. So he had, you know, more than half of Fire and Blood like already written previously. So when they're like, "Oh, you need to put something out, George. You need to publish something," he was like, "Fine." So, which means he just had to like fill in Jaehaerys and Aegon, like their reigns. He had everybody else, and he didn't even fill in Aegon. Like he did fill in Jaehaerys quite a bit, which Jaehaerys' reign is pretty much a lot of tangents. It's a lot of random tangents, but like we don't hear anything about Aegon's reign. Aegon's reign is like just empty, and then he dies like in The Godfather. He dies like Vito in The Godfather.
If you go back to when me and Preston were covering Fire and Blood, the first few chapters, it was very boring. I remember you and me, Preston, like not really liking it that much because there wasn't really anything there. It's just stuff that we had already read before in The World of Ice and Fire. So, but I will say though, they do have the potential to make it interesting. If you go back to Fire and Blood, Vaemond is not that, you know, standoutish as he was in the show. And Vaemond in the show, I would argue, was more interesting than Corlys or Corlys.
Or Viserys Velaryon, like not Viserys Velaryon, Viserys Targaryen, like the king. Like the show made him awesome. I loved it. Like he was like the best part. Yeah. So it would all be on the writers. I feel like they just have not much to work with.
Absolutely. And like I say, you just said like Septon Barth, this like fascinating character, absolutely fascinating character, and then nothing's written about him. Aegon, this huge conqueror who like, you know, establishes the kingdom and has these like two sisters,
polyamorous incest.
Right. And he's got this fascinating character Visenya, who you know is supposedly a problem, who he didn't get along with, but he actually got along with his other wife. Nothing. We hear nothing. It's like just passed over because Fire and Blood was slapped together. You know?
Yeah, there's like I remember like in the Aegon, there's like it's very checklist. Like where did the King's Guard come from? Oh, like somebody tried to assassinate Aegon once, and I better mention
Lucamore the Lusty. You know,
yes, or like the monkey that what's his name, the guy with Alistair Florent. He mentions that a Targaryen princess had a monkey or something like that. So like, all right, we gotta add that. Gotta get that in there.
And then even fucking Ryan Redwine, the most famous knight in history, we get nothing on him. Like we get nothing. Like, you know, and like this who is supposedly one of the worst hands ever. And yet we hear nothing about like what he did. Like nothing. God, what a shit show.
What a missed opportunity.
Oh my God, what a whole shit show that like the whole thing was. Oh man.
Yeah, like it's like first like for the series, like it would be hard to make it like tension. Like I think they would be hard to keep tension with Aegon's conquest because he wins every battle essentially. Like unless it's in Dorne, like you would have to wait till Dorne for there to be like real tension, I guess. And so like the whole time you have to just make these characters interesting. So maybe you don't make it POV Aegon. Maybe you make it, I don't know, who's around.
But
Torrhen Stark.
But I can see this like HBO boardroom like fucking up, like not knowing this stuff, like not knowing that like, okay, Rogue Princess and the Queen stuff is stuff that George really thought about, and there's a lot there, while Aegon's conquest is something he fucking slapped together, so there's not really any source material. But they're sitting there going, what source material do we have? What source material do we have? Because that's the trick, to have the source material. And it's like, well, you got nothing. The source material is shit.
Well, unpopular opinion here, hot take. I was actually way more excited, and the three of us, actually covered this when rumor of it first came out. I was actually more excited for the Jon Snow sequel series because, to me, thinking back on Star Wars, what excited me most about Star Wars back in the day was not them like doing the prequels. Yes, we get to see the rise of Anakin as Darth Vader, cool, and the Clone Wars, whatever. I want to know what happens after, they have that nub celebration in Return of the Jedi where, the Empire is not done. And this was, like, a debate topic amongst nerds for years. Like, you just destroy the Death Star, cool. It's not done. There's more stuff to go. Like, Bran is king at the end. Okay, cool. There's other stuff going down in the kingdom.
What's Bran's tax policy? By the way, I think it's really funny that you can go nub at the end. Like they edited out the nub.
Yeah. Nub's gone.
It's been gone for like 30 years, and yet everyone still remembers the nub.
What is it now?
I didn't grow up on nub. I had just the doo 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 doo, just like the flute music,
fluty thing, flute music. It's not, but it's Yeah.
I didn't have a Laptik Neck, the Jabba's Palace thing that's like bopping. I had like Jedi Rocks, which kind of sucks.
But no, like I wanted the Jon Snow sequel series. I know everyone's gonna make fun of it. It's gonna be so dumb. I don't want it. Like I get it, but at the same time, I already know what happens in the Conquest. I don't know what happens after the fact. Like does Arya?
I'm with you here. I'm with you here.
Yeah,
to Carmine. Yeah, it's more interesting than Aegon's.
It's 110% more interesting than Aegon's conquest.
Even with Fire and Blood right now, or even with Hot D, like we all know where it's going. Like we all know where it's going.
Actually, Preston, do we? Because we didn't know that Laenor reveal was coming, and they throw in like little pockets of things that like change up the history a little bit, and they have every right to do so because. History's written by these, like, third-party guys who have their biases, so Laenor could have survived.
What's that ancestor of Aegon that's, like, Garen the Gorgeous or something like that? Like, this name that's just dropped that, like, he's an ancestor, it's just to fill in names. We need to know about him.
Garen the Gorgeous?
Let me find him. Yeah, it's something like that. There's like this between like the fall of Valyria and Gaiman the Glorious. There we go. That's his name. Yeah, let's learn about Gaiman the Glorious. He's like this. Like, why was he so glorious?
Preston, you have to include a character called Garen the Gorgeous. Now that has to be a thing now.
All right, Garen the Gorgeous.
Garen the Gorgeous. Write it down.
All we know about him is that he was just we remember it as a great Targaryen Lord of Dragonstone during the Century of Blood. We know nothing else. Go completely mystery character. You could do whatever you want with him.
Why was he so great? But I was also like, I think I was bringing up like why, like who historically was the original Jaehaerys? I mean, not Jaehaerys. Who was the original Jaehaerys, and who historically was the original Lucerys? Because like Corlys really felt it was super important that Laenor's kid be not named Joffrey but be named Jaehaerys, and then the next one is named Lucerys. And historically, we have no idea who the fuck these guys were. Like they were very important Velaryons historically, but who were they? Like no one knows. Like why? But
yeah, dang, yeah. There's a lot of.
You're proposing a spinoff talking about these two random guys in the Velaryon history.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, over Aegon the Conqueror, yes.
I get these messages all the time. Like, have you gotten into Dunk and Egg yet? Because people know, like, I know the story of Dunk and Egg, but I haven't like gone through it word by word. Because I actually downloaded the audiobook recently, and I want to start it. But Preston's over here saying like the Dunk and Egg stuff is better than Ice and Fire.
It's so much fun. So much fun. I love the Dunk and Egg.
Well,
it's very.
It's the next natural like selection. Like after Hot D is done, like, but at the same time though, I do.
But there's no dragons, and dragons are cool. You know.
Yeah. It's the characters. Care about the characters.
But we got relationships. I put dragons because dragons are cool, and everybody loves dragons.
You can show the last dragon. You can show the last dragon for a split flashback. That little shriveled thing.
Well,
they're fucking fantastic stories. They're fantastic stories. Word for word, they're better than Ice and Fire. They're fun.
Like the relationship between Egg and Dunk is so great. It just feels so natural and I don't know, fun. You're right. It's just. I don't know. It's cute. It's like I don't know. I could see it working out.
Like George writes this. Like he writes this like the Sworn Sword, which is this like ridiculously kind of like dumb, worthless story that has no effect on anything, and yet
it's over like water rights, right?
Yeah,
it's over like a dam.
His descriptions of like Sir Eustace and how pathetic he is, and the sexual tension between Dunk and like Rohan Weber, like, is so great, you know, and like it's makes it such a fun, wondrul story. But yeah.
I'm gonna get into it, so I'm expecting amazing things, Preston. I'm expecting, because I know what basically happens, the Targaryen douchebag and, you know, the tourney stuff and all that. Like, I know the basis of it.
Oh, fuck it. This is what I can't believe, Carmine. Also, Dunk and Egg, it's narrated by Harry fucking Lloyd. Okay?
I know, so I got the audiobook.
Narrated by Harry fucking Lloyd.
So I got the audiobook.
Viserys himself. Like, it's so, and he's so good. He's so good.
I have a criticism of Harry Lloyd. I like him, but he ranges in his levels of his voice a lot, where he murmurs and whispers at some points, and it's very hard to tell, and then he shouts and yells. So if you have your earbuds, he'll blow you out. But he's good. He gives it his all, which I like.
Oh, I know. When he was doing the histories and lore for the Blu-rays, he was like one of him and Ian Glenn, who plays Jorah Mormont. Their voices are like butter, but it's that like British, you know, the cadence they have. But like I get what HBO is trying to do. They're trying to do what Disney does, where every year we have some Ice and Fire content going down. And, you know, great. I'm all for that. But I'm also a little worried that they're going to oversaturate us with a little too much. Because Book of Boba and Kenobi, I don't know if you saw them, Trey, they weren't that great. Andor was spectacular.
I watched Kenobi. Kenobi was very iffy. It was meh for me. It was like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't anything to write home about.
Mm-hmm. So
people would like, there would be like people could turn Dunk into like a heartthrob. Just think of that. They could do all kinds of fun stuff, right?
I mean, I guess
he'll be the new Jon Snow, like because that's what people like. People were like, oh, Emilia Clarke is so hot, or Jon Snow, or whatever. Like that's what the normal, the casuals need. They need like a hot person, right? It's like
do they? Preston, do they?
I think so, right? Like pop culture. So. They need like a hot person to kind of bring people in, to make it kind of cool. Because if it's nerdy and you have like these ugly people, these old people, it's like
I would love to see like Tansel Too Tall, like, because you got to find this like cute girl who's like 6 feet tall. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But Dunk has to be like even taller than her, you know.
Dunk needs to be like a 7 foot tall actor. Yeah, he needs to be the guy that played the giant in that he played 1-1.
By the way, very very few celebrities are over my height, which is 6'5", 6'6". Very few celebrities get that tall, but I'm kind of the upper limit. So the super tall celebrities, okay, Joe Manganiello, that he's the guy from How I Met Your Mother, that friend. Tim Robbins. Tyler Perry is very tall. He's 6'5", 6'6". Blake Shelton is super tall. He's 6'5", 6'6". Howard Stern. Dwayne Johnson. These are all the same height. Vince Vaughn. Armie Hammer. I don't know who that is. Lee Pace.
Armie Hammer and his cannibalism. That's a whole thing.
He's like a weird cannibal, yeah.
John Corbett. He's the guy from Sex and the City and My Big Fat Greek Wedding and Northern Exposure. And then check this out, James Cromwell.
James Cromwell.
You know the guy who was in Star Trek First Contact?
Oh yeah, James Cromwell.
Yeah. That guy.
He's tall?
He's super tall. He's like
6'7". God damn.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like 6'7",
Wow.
6'8". Yeah. Actually 6'9". No, 6'7",
Joe
6'7".
Manganiello is fucking that guy. God damn. I know Joe Manganiello, for those of you who don't remember, he was the bully in the original Spider-Man movie from 2002.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
the high
yeah.
school bully. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's married to the woman from
Sofia Vergara?
No, he's married to the woman from Modern Family, the Colombian.
Yeah, Sofia Vergara.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was also in Magic Mike and True Blood, for those of you who don't remember.
Oh yeah, he's in True Blood as a werewolf. Yeah.
Carmine. The one actor was an Andor, apparently.
Who was he in Andor?
He was Vetch. Do you know
Oh,
who
the
that is?
alien, yes.
Okay.
One alien that appears in like 5 episodes.
He was in the Northman, I think, too. He was the Mound Dweller. He was like the zombie in the Northman. He was really good as that. That was a cool